All right, for this assignment, I'm going to actually talk about several different pieces of technology throughout this entire video recording, I guess. I'll talk about how I do some of my recordings, and I'll talk about a couple of different websites slash apps that I utilize with my courses. Throughout this video recording, you'll notice that a lot of these items that I'm going to talk about probably focus a little more on the substitution piece or the augmentation piece, and kind of lend itself to the modification piece of the SAMR model. But I would say that it really doesn't get to the point where I'm doing the redefinition piece of the SAMR model. So I would say that the majority of the pieces I'm going to talk about focus mostly on those first three levels. It doesn't really reach the last part of the spectrum. The redefinition, it introduces the kids to it, but I would say it doesn't really lend itself to getting them more involved and kind of almost teaching the class or teaching the lesson or redefining the model, redefining the lesson plan in their own terms. So first off, the first one I would like to talk about, I guess, is just the recording platform. A flipped classroom is probably pretty popular right now. So for creating that flipped classroom, there's a multitude of items that you can use. I'm just going to touch on a few of them. The first thing that obviously you want is a good headset. So having a good headset is key with a good microphone to be able to record so that the students can easily hear you, so that there's clarity and so that there's not a lot of background noise. So I just use a basic Logitech headset, but there's lots of them out there. The Bluetooth ones are really nice because then you don't have the cords. If you have a smart board, then you're writing on your smart board, and then you have your Bluetooth headset that you can just walk around and write on your smart board while you're recording, things like that. And then also what's really nice to have is a slate of some sort. So a slate that can connect to your computer so that you can draw on it. So for this slate, like, you're going to have some type of pen, some type of writing device, and then you'll have your slate, and then you can control your screen however you want. The nice piece about that is if you're using something like PowerPoint or Smartboard software or Active software, then you can draw right over top of your screen. So if you're, for example, if you're a math teacher, then you can go through and you can kind of work out math problems, and you can write out and show all of your work, all of your steps as you're recording. And then the other nice piece, I guess, would be to having some type of recording device that you can utilize for doing the recordings. So usually the ones that I recommend are going to be like the Smart product has, if you download the Smart software, that one has a good recorder on it. If you download the Active software, that one has a good recorder on it. I believe the Smart one is free. If you download Smart software, I believe that one's free. I'm not sure about the Active one, though. I don't know if that's free or not. I think you might have to have a license for that one. And then you have like Screencast-O-Matic. If you just go to the website Screencast-O-Matic, that's a really good website where you can just very easily record your screen as well. It's a nice website because right after you record, you can automatically upload it to YouTube. So that's one of them that I usually recommend. And then, like myself here, I have Adobe Connect, and Adobe Connect is an expensive product, but I'm fortunate because I also teach college classes, and a lot of the college classes I teach are through the computer, so they purchased it for me. So I utilize Adobe Connect for doing all my recordings. Now, so you have your recordings, or you have your tools, I guess, for doing your recordings. You have your recordings for drawing on your screen, things like that. A couple of nice, handy things for drawing on your screen or for creating your lesson and showing it on your screen. I'll go ahead and share my screen here so that everyone can see what I'm looking at. So a couple of nice tools for drawing on your screen, writing on the screen here. You can use PowerPoint. PowerPoint works extremely well because it has the pen functionality, so you could just take your slate and you can draw right on your screen. Another one would be like OneNote. OneNote is a nice tool because, again, it allows you to draw on your screen. So in OneNote, I can go through and I can just draw right on the screen as well. And then OneNote is really nice for organizing lessons. You can see I have some lesson material in here. And the OneNote, you can create your lesson plan within OneNote, and then you can draw right in it. And then the other nice thing I'll talk about here in a second is how OneNote is also connected to an online platform that is much like Google Docs. I would imagine that the majority of people are familiar with Google Docs. Well, OneNote, or Microsoft I should say, Microsoft has a product that is identical to Google Docs. It's actually pretty nice. All right, so now you have items where you can draw on your screen, you can control your screen. Once you have all of this set up, then let's say that you want to implement this or share this with your students. So that's usually kind of the progression that I'm going through, is usually the progression that a lot of teachers want to hopefully implement within their class, or they want to implement into their classroom. So for here, with OneNote, let's say you created your lesson plans. So here's my lesson plans for each one of these sections, and then I went through and I taught the lesson. I drew over top of these slides. Well, what you can do is you can create a free OneDrive account, and this free OneDrive account, you can, after you create it, then it links all Microsoft products to the cloud. So now I can access my Microsoft products that are uploaded in this cloud environment. So like I said, it is exactly like Google Docs, but it's a Microsoft product, so that you can have your Microsoft products in this cloud type of environment. So you create your account, and then inside of your account, now you have, it's almost like a My Documents on your computer. You create your folders, and then inside of your folders you can store all of your Microsoft products. So it stores more than just Microsoft products, but it is tailored to utilizing it with a Microsoft product. So let me go into, where's my classes? Oops. There we go. All right. So once you put your lesson plans or your PowerPoints or whatever you want, you can put all that stuff right into here. And then you can just store them in the cloud so that you can access them from any computer. So a lot of people ask me, why do you want to store them in the cloud? Well, the reason I do that is because then I can leave my school computer at school, and then I can work on this stuff from my home computer. Now, on your home computer, on your school computer, your students, they don't have to have Microsoft on their computer. That's one of the nicest parts about that. The majority of people work with Microsoft products, but you don't have to have the Microsoft product on your computer. Students, what they can do is they can just come right in here and they can click on New, and they can create a Word document, a Microsoft Word document, without even having Microsoft on their computer. So it's really nice because you can create all of these different documents, a Word document, an Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, or an Excel survey, and then you don't have to have the Microsoft, pay for the Microsoft product on your computer. You can just utilize this stuff for free. Now, one of the reasons why I'm talking about this, I guess, is because, so here is what I have in class. We're standing up in class and I'm going through notes, I'm writing stuff down. This here is the document that I have on my computer. So now, this was the one that I have on my computer. This is the one that I have in my OneDrive. You'll notice that what I wrote on my computer showed up in my OneDrive. One of the nice parts about this is if I have this on my website, so let's say that I have this document right here linked or posted on my website, what the students can do, or what happens with the students, what happens with that document online, is anything that I write on this document on my computer, since it's linked to my Microsoft account, it automatically shows up in that document that's posted online. So the way that I've used that is I've posted these, I'll put all my notes right on my website, and then as I go through in class, I'm sitting there writing stuff down in class, working out problems, whatever it is. What'll happen then is it automatically shows up then on the student's computer after it syncs. So it does take a minute or two to sync it, and then what happens is it puts all of your writing onto that document that's posted on your website. Now, some people look at that and they say, well, all you're doing is just dumbing down or kind of ruining the student's ability to take notes. Well, some students are gone, So it's nice for the students that are gone because then they have access to all your notes. It's nice for the students that want to just focus and pay attention and not be writing stuff down. So for those students that, you know, they just want to watch you work through the problem versus focusing on writing it all down, it's nice for those type of students as well. So there's, you know, some pros and cons here to all of this that I'm going to talk about. All right, now this you can use, you know, some people say, well, why don't you use Google Slides? You can't write on a Google slide. That's why that's why I'm not pushing or talking about, I guess, I shouldn't say pushing. I'm not pushing anything here, hopefully. But that's why I'm not talking about Google Slides. That's why I'm not talking about Google products, is because you can't write over top of those. This is really nice because you can write on these and then you can put this into your website if you have a website. Speaking of which, if you would like to make a website, that's what I'm going to, I guess, segue to next. Several different items or products that you can use for websites. We've already been introduced to Weebly in the class here, and then Google Sites. Google Sites is a really good one. That one is really easy to use. It's easy to make your website, class page, online platform. And then one that I've been using for quite a few years is Moodle. So Moodle is another one that is a fantastic product for making websites. There's lots of them out there, and these are just ones that I guess I've tried out. I've tried many of them, but these are the ones that I've kind of tailored myself to. Moodle is a fantastic learning platform because it's very dynamic and allows you to create a lot of different stuff inside of the learning platform. So within Moodle, you can create tests, quizzes, you can create lessons so that as a student progresses through a lesson, they're not allowed to move on to the next lesson until they answer the questions at the end of the lesson. So if they get those questions right, then the next lesson opens up. So it kind of creates that you know, learn at your own pace type of environment if you want to make it that way. Now it is relatively cumbersome when you first get into it, but once you start playing around with it and then you kind of learn the dynamic of it, then it becomes a heck of a lot easier to be able to navigate through here and to figure out how to add stuff to it, how to modify stuff. All right, so I've talked about utilizing the cloud, I guess, for storing your notes, your presentations, so that the students can also access them and see the notes and presentations. Now, there's definitely a lot. There's a lot more that I could talk about and delve into, but the purpose, I guess, of this, I just want to introduce, or the purpose of the assignment is to kind of introduce and talk about how we use this, the materials in our classroom. So this is how I use a lot of the stuff in my classroom, or a lot of this in my classroom. All right, and then jumping back, I guess I'll just finish off talking about Moodle. Jumping back to Moodle, like I said, it allows you to create the online environment where students can access notes. You can create wikis to get the students a little more involved. And like I said, a lot of this stuff lends itself to the latter part of the spectrum of that SAMR model. So now you're getting into that redefinition piece. So the students can kind of go in there and create their own learning platform. You can create kind of like textbooks in here. You can create assignments. So I have the kids upload assignments in here. Now, a lot of what I'm talking about really, I guess, is under the presumption that the students have access to the technology, because that's always a hassle. There's always complications in terms of students having access to the technology. So in my setting where I'm at, I'm very fortunate because every single one of my students is one-to-one. So every student has a device where they can access the internet all day long. Not all of them have access to the internet, you know, when they go home, but during the school day, we have what is called a FlexMod schedule. A FlexMod schedule is really nice because it gives them more flexibility in their scheduling of classes. So classes might only run Monday, Wednesday, Friday for one course. Another course might be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The classes are very flexible with how they're scheduled. And with a FlexMod schedule, this is a high school setting. With this FlexMod schedule, it's really nice because it lends itself more to giving the students a little more flexible free time during their school day. And that was one of the reasons we went one-to-one. One of the reasons we went with this FlexMod schedule is because they have that time built into their school day so that they can utilize the technology appropriately, hopefully appropriately, but they can, every single student can get online, every single student can seek out a teacher for assistance throughout the school day. So there's lots of little pieces that have gone into this, and I could definitely go on for quite a while talking about everything that I've done in this entire video and in this entire lecture here. But I guess, like I said, the purpose of it was to just kind of introduce or talk about some